What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a special edition of the Wrestling Junkies Podcast. I'm Mr. Cincinnati, and conspicuous by his absence is the podcast dad. The dad part is not a gimmick. When it comes to Chris, he is off doing family things tonight, but that's okay. I get to do the fun part, and that is talk to wrestlers. And tonight I am joined by a very special tag team, Viral Pro Wrestling Tag Team Champions, internationally traveled. We got to meet them in person at Action Wrestling. Give it up for the Buff and Fluff Connection, Cody Fluffman, Sean Legacy. Gentlemen, how you doing?
Yeah.
Good. Thank you guys. Thank you.
No problem. Glad that we could finally make this happen. Yeah, like I said, we connected at the 6th anniversary show that we were down for, and just all kinds of entertained by you guys, and knew that we had to have you on the show, so we greatly appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate you for having us.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you this right now. This is my first ever interview or podcast or anything like that, so I'm super pumped about it.
Oh shit. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, no, let's get right on into it. Let's have some fun. Here at the Wrestling Junkies, we look at wrestlers. They are superheroes and or supervillains, and they clash. The one thing they do have in common is they all have origin stories. So, gentlemen, if you could, and doesn't really matter who goes first, but just tell us about some of your earliest memories of pro wrestling.
You want to start?
Go ahead.
Okay.
You got it.
So growing up watching wrestling, obviously, like everybody, you go up to it, and then grew up watching it. You had that little phase where you fall out of watching wrestling all the time. But then, I got back into it whenever a SmackDown house show came to the James Brown Arena. My uncle won tickets on the radio, and he was like, yeah, you're going to wrestling with us. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm going to get back into wrestling. And I remember watching it, and it was like, I just remember Big Show being in a tables match, and it was like the coolest thing ever. And
Nice.
That kind of rekindled that. And then around that time, that's whenever I started hanging out with Sean. And then from there, that's all we would talk about and watch. And, every time we hung out, we were talking or doing something that was wrestling related. And, from there on.
I'm a mark for the fans, bro. The fans got me. That's the realest thing in wrestling. So Raw after WrestleMania was definitely my go-to. I'm watching every second of it because I just wanted to know what the fans were gonna do. Man, I love the fans to do some crazy stuff, dude. But of course, I love the wrestling part, but the fans is what really draws me in.
Love that. So Cody's already kind of alluded to it, but you guys, grew up together and have known each other a very long time. Who introduced themselves to the other first? How did we know that the love of wrestling was in the other person? How'd that begin?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know.
I do. So, I remember the day we became friends.
Let me think of that. When did I see you? When did I go, he's pretty cool?
You done? You done?
Go ahead, talk to him.
Okay, I got
live.
This isn't live. It's just taped. It's all good.
Live, pal.
Yeah.
So we had a mutual.
I meet you? Go ahead. Go. I'm done.
So we had a couple mutual friends, and then in the local area, we had one person's house that we always hung out with. We always hang out at his house. We were hanging out, we were going to Kane's house, and that's where we ended up meeting through some mutual friends. And then just one of those, because that would be the house where everybody would go. We'd do the typical teenager thing. We'd stay up all night playing video games, whatever. But that's where Sean and I met. And then one day we just started talking about wrestling because I think he had shown up in a Cena shirt. And so then from there we started talking about it. And probably 6 months after that, we actually did. We were outside. It was probably 3 a.m. Had no business being in the front yard, but we're sitting there talking, and me and Sean talking about being wrestlers when we grow up and everything. And I remember Sean going, "Dude, what if we were a tag team?" Whenever we started wrestling, and I was like, "Bro, wouldn't that be crazy?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "What if we called ourselves the Buff and Fluff Connection? Wouldn't that be wild?" And it's like, "Oh yeah, dude, that would be wild." And then fast forward. That was when we were 13. So, 11 years later, or no longer than that, here we are now, the Buff and Fluff Connection, doing exactly like we were talking about going to high school.
Nice. Love it. So did you guys go to wrestling training at the same time, or was it a little bit staggered at all?
Oh, I trained first. I trained first. I trained with this person up in Colombia, and it was basically learning how to bump, and then there you go, off you go. That was it.
Yeah, I
Cody,
trained
what about you?
after Sean. I trained, funny enough, also in Colombia. I trained with a guy named Billy Brash. That was about it. Sean had been wrestling for about a year until I started training.
Nice. Okay. So you guys are obviously a well-oiled machine by now. Take us through what have been some of the challenges of coming together as a tag team, whether it be experience or location. Anything that you face that people don't necessarily think about when it comes to seeing established tag teams in wrestling.
You can start.
You want me to start?
Yeah, you can start. Because I got mine. You can start.
What's yours?
No, go ahead.
No, I want to know
hear
yours
first.
I want to hear yours
No,
first.
I want to hear yours first.
Let's hear it.
So first, there's stuff like this, where you can't decide on who wants to go first, who's taking.
I'm taking hot tag every day.
All right, rock, paper, scissors, whoever loses.
Here we go.
First.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. See, I'm the best.
All
There
right.
we go.
So, like, a lot of times you don't think about, like, you just, like, when fans see us in the ring, that's all they see. They don't see, like, the traveling to the show and back home from the show. Or, like, whenever your tag partner brings, 18 hard-boiled eggs in your car. Or, why are you popping your pecs?
I didn't know what this was. I didn't know this was on.
So, or leaves a container of tilapia under your seat because he forgot about it, and then it's 2 weeks go by and you're like, what is that smell in my car? So those are probably some of the bigger challenges. But other than that, what you got, Sean?
Oh, it's the car rides. Just me having to sit in that passenger seat
The whole time. Yeah.
and Cody's just blaring music so he can stay awake on these 6-hour drives, and I'm trying to sleep. Hi, Cody. That's all he thinks about is himself. I'm trying to get some shut eye, and he's over here blaring music. Golly.
So what kind of music? Okay, so what kind of music are we talking for each of you, depending on who's driving? What kind of sounds we got going?
Yeah, Cody, go ahead.
All right, so whenever I'm driving, we're listening to a whole bunch of sad boy music. We're listening to Hot Mulligan. We're listening to Mom Jeans. Just a lot of that, pop punk style, or if I'm feeling froggy, I'll throw on some Mexican OT, any sort of rap, some old 90s. We listen to a lot of like early 2000s hits, Shake It Like a Song.
Shake It Like
I like it.
Listening, just taking it back. But there's always a point in any car ride for at least 30 minutes. We have Tenacious D playing, and both of us are just going word for word on every song as we're driving.
If I'm driving, that's the first playlist I click on to see. It's like seeing that all the albums. So
I like it.
pretty quick.
I like it. For me in the podcast, Dad, it's Lil Dicky. That's usually a staple on every road trip we've got. So I like that there's that chemistry right there with a little bit. But as part of my research for this interview, I like to try to find some great pictures and just see what and see what questions come of it. I could not help but notice this one, if it'll come up. I mean, this very clearly highlights your chemistry out of the ring. Can you share a memorable highlight from your career that highlights that chemistry in the ring as a tag team that closely mirrors that moment that we're seeing on both of your faces there?
Man, we're just both goofy wrestlers, dude.
We're
just both goofy wrestlers that just like we honestly enjoy tagging together, man. Mm-hmm. It's just so much fun. It's funny. It's like you can see our chemistry in the ring, but sometimes I wish there was a camera of us outside the ring, because I really do think there's more chemistry of us outside the ring than there is in.
Absolutely.
But man, yeah, that picture of us, it's so funny. And I don't think you were going to ask a question like this, so I'll go ahead and answer this. But so what's funny about that picture is we were like, oh, let's just do the Step Brothers thing, and let's just, sell this by 8x10. We're like, all right, cool, we'll just sell that picture. Well, maybe a couple weeks after.
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks after that.
2 weeks after that, on Thanksgiving Day, Cody calls me and basically asks that if I know this certain someone that's an aunt. And I go, yeah. And it's basically what's your aunt too?
So it was one of my uncles was married to his aunt for like a couple years.
Okay.
So last November, we found out, after being friends since we were 13, we found out we were step cousins.
We're step cousins. So we did the step brothers.
That's great.
Photo before we knew that we're step cousins, and we've been friends for years.
Yeah.
And now we sell that 8x10 with a little bit of extra stuff around it, but it has step brothers, but brothers is crossed out and it says cousins.
Okay. All right. I like that. That is, I mean, who needs 23andMe when you got this?
Who needs ancestry when you got pro wrestling? All right.
Yeah.
So, Cody, your mission is to spread body positivity through entertainment. Tell us more about that mission and what it is that you strive to do as far as your in-ring performances that show that it's okay and it's okay and good to be comfortable as you are in the wrestling business. Something that we're starting to see a true renaissance for here in 2024.
Yeah, so I'll kind of start that with like the backstory behind my name. So, obviously, spoiler alert, Cody Fluffman is not my real name, but it is very real to me in the sense of like growing up and being in school. I was picked on a lot. I was bullied, a lot of times being bullied for being the biggest kid in the class. So I couldn't fight, and I could never at the time couldn't think of good enough comebacks to get around these bullies. So one day I'm watching the Gabriel Iglesias stand up. It was like his first one, right whenever he was booming, and he was doing like the 5 stages of that, and Fluffy being one of them. And I was like, oh, I like the Fluffy, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, I don't want to do that because that's just his thing. And this is in, 7th grade, 6th grade came out. And I'm like, oh, what if I just started calling myself Fluffman? I was like, what if I just start telling everybody my name's Cody Fluffman? Because who's going to make fun of the fat kid named Fluffman, right? So I just went around, like I got a hat made that said Fluffman across it, and I started going around and saying that was my name. And everybody picked up on it to where, like, senior year, they called my name for graduation, and I'm walking past people, and they're going, I had no idea that Fluffman was not your real name. Like, I have people we go to high school with that still don't believe Fluffman is my, like, real last name. So that's where I come with that, with the, that's what my name has always been about, is getting around what people think of you. So with it, I now take, Cody Fluffman, and I use that as my name. And from there, I can, that's my presence, I guess I'm trying to say.
That's better. My arm was killing me from holding that. Bring it closer.
I think he's just trying to get the Gold's Gym tank in the shot there. It's okay.
Dude, my arm.
What are you doing?
I'm telling you, I'm serious. Like, I swear to stop. Okay. All right. God, my arms are just. So, Cody, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, dude. Finish.
Yeah. Can I finish my story?
Jesus. Dude.
Let me finish the story, Sean.
What is this deal?
But so I take that, and going into wrestling, like starting out, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and then I remember COVID happening, and during that time, seeing everybody go through all of these transformations. So you have people who are like, all right, well, now I'm going to start, getting in shape. So you got people at home doing like workouts, or people not even like just physical transformations, but people going out trying new things. So like, all right, how many people do you know started making bread during that time? Like, everybody's doing something different. So I'm thinking, like, with wrestling, all right, well, whenever wrestling comes back, I need to be different than I was. And that's where I'm thinking of, like, well, my appearance hasn't changed. So what can I use to, like, how can I use my appearance to spread that? And of like, that's where going into the body positive of not being upset with who you are, because who you are can be a positive. So just because, like, I am a bigger guy doesn't mean I can't do a lot of stuff like in ring, because I feel that I do I do some pretty cool stuff for a big guy sometimes. So
yeah,
just being comfortable in who you are is pretty much like the basis of body positivity. It's being comfortable with what you have, and if you want to take what you look like and change it a little bit, as long as that's in the direction that makes you happy, that's the direction. Like, you know, you don't have to. I don't get on to Sean for being, you know, so muscular. Like Sean doesn't have to be fat like me. Yeah, but Sean also needs to be positive in his body, because like just the struggles that bigger people go through of like the body dysmorphia or like your image of it, like people like Sean have these same exact issues.
Big.
Yeah.
So it's not so much of a like a weight thing as much as it is more of a being comfortable with who you are and being able to present that in something that isn't, you know, watered down or not true to yourself.
Sure. No, that makes complete sense. And like I said, especially coming out of COVID, I mean, everybody kind of had that sort of existential, not necessarily crisis, but that period of self-reflection. You know, when you got all that time on your hands, it's just, it's what you do.
I wrestled for a year before COVID happened, and I was wearing a polo shirt with the sleeves cut off and khaki shorts, and I was a frat guy, even though I've never seen a college. And like, so it was just that I was presenting me, but it wasn't in a true form.
Sure.
And whenever, you know, coming back, you know, I switched to, I got actual like, trunks. I still wear Vans, but that's just me. That's a me thing more than it is anything. But it's just changing that and being, again, going back to taking me and figuring out how to present me to the best of my ability, so that way everybody has something they can relate to.
Sure. No, I mean, I think that's beautifully said, and I'll kick it over to you, Sean. I mean, let's kind of get the inverse of that as well. I mean, you know, take us through what you do, especially because, you know, wrestling is such a looks heavy and looks conscious industry. You know, what is it that you do to keep yourself mentally strong and fit to, you know that you are working your ass off and that you're at your best to do the best work that you can to support your tag team partner?
A lot of caffeine. No.
Hey.
No. Yeah. Nah, dude. It's, man. Food, man. Eating the right kind of food. I'm cooking constantly. I'm cooking my own food constantly. My rice cooker is on 24/7. Like, man, there's so much work that is outside the ring that people do not see, and it's just wild. It's, man, my workouts, like I just said, the food I eat. I honestly listen to a lot of motivational videos. I really do. I like that. Like, it's a little in the morning I have like a little therapy time with just stuff, but I have like a little motivational video on, and I'll act like the person's talking to me or something like that, and just gets me going, helps me. But yeah, man, it's just you know, staying positive is helping, and following your own story. That's a lot of wrestlers lose track of their story because they're so jealous or so focused on this person succeeding. And why is this person this place when I know I'm better than that person or something like that? And everyone just needs to stick with their own story, man. I tell myself that a lot.
Yeah. Well said, gentlemen. So I thought it would be fun, since we've got a tag team on the show here. You guys are closer than 6 is to 7, so I wanted to play a little game as far as who knows the other better. And I've got just a handful of questions here. We're just gonna see where the answers come as they may. So you know, we'll do with these as you wish. Who is more likely to forget their gear at a show?
Forget their gear at a show?
Yeah.
This man did forget his gear.
When?
You forgot your gear heading to the show.
Okay,
yeah.
No. I forgot it heading to a show. I didn't leave it at the show.
Yeah, no, that's number one. Like, don't get me wrong. Every wrestler goes, "Oh God, I'm pretty sure I forgot my gear."
No, all right, so let's make this even more clear. It wasn't that I even like forgot my gear on the way to a show. It was I forgot my bag on the way to us going to the UK. Like I pull up to me and my mom pull up to his house to like pick him up. I was like, hey, we gotta go right back. Like, I forgot my stuff.
Yeah, no, not I.
Okay. Who has the better sense of direction while traveling?
Oh, me.
No, me, because I actually drive. Sean sleeps in the passenger seat, so he'll wake up and go, "Where are we at?"
But here's the thing. Me, I swear to God, I have like some kind of superpower where like I'm paying attention and I know where we're going, and when we need to leave, I know exactly where we're going without using the GPS. Cody's over here like, oh, where do I go? Where do I go? We have no service here. We're in downtown Alabama. I don't know where we're going. No. He's all scared.
Again, I'll go back to when we were in the UK. Sean did a great job of getting us walking around while we were in the UK. But anytime it's driving anywhere, it's me, which is anytime we're in the car together because I always drive.
Okay, well, we weren't driving in the UK. Let's go ahead and spill that.
But that was 1 week out of years. So
okay. Who is likely to suggest a new workout routine or exercise? Hey, it could be either one of you. Okay, it could be either one of you.
His finger was getting pointed at you. Sean. Hey, let me say, week 3 if I have been going to the gym consistently with Sean. So like I'm not trying to not be Fluff Man. Like I'm still.
Yeah.
Oh man, you're just putting your arms right in front of my face. That's awesome.
Boom! Go ahead.
I'm gonna pinch you.
Go ahead.
Do it again.
Go ahead. Finish.
All right. Who has the better memory for remembering spots and match details?
Go ahead, Cody. Point. It's me. It's legacy. Legacy. Ah, owie.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
see? Thank you.
All right. Who is more likely to get in trouble backstage?
What'd you say?
Who's more likely to get in trouble backstage?
Sean.
Okay, yeah.
Sean. No, Sean. I can't tell you how many times we've been at a show and there's a moment of silence, like in the front we're talking, and I just hear Sean just giggling.
Man,
and he's trying to get me to break, so I get in trouble.
It's tough, man. It's tough.
It could be the most serious thing going on, but I just see Sean going, like trying to get me to break, so I get in trouble.
Yeah, you guys really are two sides of the same damn coin. It is just, it's great. Well, you guys handled all of those questions well, but as we kind of move into Act 3 of this interview here, we've been talking all things Buff and Fluff Connection, Fluff and Buff Connection. It goes both ways. It works. It's the rhyme for me. Here's a chance. I'm going to give you guys a spotlight. Who are some tag teams that we should be paying attention to in 2024 right now? That are not you guys.
Oh, well, kind of narrowed down the list.
I think because like the ones we kind of know are already like out there. You know, like the first person we're at a.
Here's a couple of guys I can think of.
Yeah, Slime Season.
Yeah, that's probably top on the list right there. That's definitely top of the list. Oh man, I think Exotic Youth.
Yeah, I mean we've wrestled.
Yeah.
Like Exotic Youth has been a great. They're the perfect opposite to us.
Yes, yeah. So
I can see that.
Always, it's 100% like.
Yeah, they've definitely been the tag team that we've wrestled the most.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay.
I'm a really big fan of, and I do want to get to a point where I do want to work them one day. They're based out of Atlanta. They're the Northside Heroes. A really big fan of those two, just because they've been putting a lot of work in. We've been sharing a couple shows. It's been one of those like we've always been in passing with them, but I do feel like we could have a lot of good chemistry with them. But they're also just the team that has been putting in a lot of work and deserves proper due.
Okay. I like it. Solid names there. This is probably going to be the hardest question that I've asked in the entire 25 minutes here. There is no right or wrong answer, but it is very much a debate that rages on between the podcast dad and myself. So, gentlemen, I need your input here. When you hear the moniker Mr. WrestleMania, is it Shawn? Is it Taker?
I'm leading with Taker.
So I'm saying Shawn.
Okay, all right.
Solely because Taker. I don't know if Taker's ever been like. Whenever I hear the name Mr. WrestleMania, I don't ever hear that like people talking about Taker. It's always Shawn Michael is Mr. WrestleMania. Sure. Like that. Like any build up to WrestleMania that Shawn was on, it was talking about how Shawn was Mr. WrestleMania, and like Taker going, everything was always talking about the streak. Not saying like because that's a huge thing that Taker got to do through Mania, but like I don't know the term Mr. WrestleMania just that resonate. Like you say that, and I see Shawn down on the zip line. Like that's what.
Yeah, but
no, I agree. Yeah,
he sees Shawn on the zip line. I see Taker at those last 21 WrestleManias.
Yeah. I mean. And that's the thing. I mean, and it's surprising how much how divisive that question has become over the last 5 or 6 months that we've asked it. Is it's I think we're getting pretty close to a 60-40 split here, leaning a little bit more Shawn, but there's the argument.
And if somebody was like, "Oh, WrestleMania's coming up," you had that one friend say, "I wonder who Taker's facing."
Sure. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, nobody was like, "I wonder who Shawn Michaels is facing." No.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm saying more so like
whatever,
the name Mr. WrestleMania. So you always do this.
Whatever,
bro. Do this.
Whatever.
hey, I don't even care. I don't even
care anymore.
Shit. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Glad that we finally got to do this. Before I let you go, where can everybody find you on social media? What events do you have coming up that you want to spread the word about?
When will this get released? Just
so this is a Wednesday here that we're recording this. This will be out on Friday.
This Friday?
Yep.
Okay.
Next Thursday.
Yep.
Phoenix Wrestling Experience. Savannah River Brewery in Augusta, Georgia.
Yep.
It's gonna be epic. Cody is in the main event facing Drew Adler.
I'm wrestling Drew Adler for the Savannah River Brewing Company Championship. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's in Augusta. It's in our hometown, but genuinely, it's probably the loudest crowd we work in front of.
It's hot,
and they love Shawn and I, and this is like my first like big match for the company too. So like I know that crowd's gonna be hot, and just the show itself is so much fun. Like it's a blast. Every show is great. Like we do it at the brewery. Like the brewery themselves are awesome because they let us come in and kind of take their space for a day.
Yeah.
But PWE is definitely like the big show that's up and coming that we're on 100% with, and that June 13th is going to be the show.
And there's only 4 matches. You don't have to.
I like that.
Wrestling matches. It's 4. Cody and Drew are the main. Like I said earlier, they're going 45. They're going 45.
Can't wait to hear it. Okay, I love it.
Hey, hold on. No, how many?
40. We'll talk later. We'll talk later.
No, I'm kind of like.
Nah. Listen, we're on his time.
All right. I'm not gonna forget about that.
I'll bring it up later. Hey, listen, Waffle House is on.
No.
Yep. PWE,
baby.
PWE.
Well, gentlemen, best of luck. Real quick, where can everybody find you on socials?
Shawn SEAN_Legacy1. Instagram, X, Facebook, Tinder, Thread. I don't have a thread. Go ahead, Cody. Oh, not say Tinder? Oh,
yeah. You might want to redo it so you can take that one out.
That'll be all right.
I am at Fluffman_cometh on Instagram, Twitter, Cody Fluffman on Facebook. I'm way more active on like my Instagram and Twitter. But if you send me your friend request, I'm sorry if I don't accept it. But definitely follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter.
Tinder. Follow him on Tinder. Tinder?
I use Bumble. I'm afraid to talk to women. They got to talk to me.
Gentlemen, thank you both so very much. Cody, give him hell next week. Sean, way to not make your pecs pop for the last 6 minutes of this interview. Really appreciate it.
I'm proud. Sure. See, and it's kind of like Beetlejuice. If you just say it, it happens. First ever interview. This has been awesome. And then getting to it with Sean. We play back and forth, but genuinely, this is my best bud, and I couldn't ask for a better person to be tagging with. I genuinely couldn't ask for a better person to spend most of my days with. So super.
Love it. Love it. Well, gentlemen, cannot wait to see what you do next. And quite frankly, can't wait to have you back on the show. Maybe the podcast that'll actually join us for this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
That back. We could do what was the name of that game show? Newlyweds.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
let's do it. Done. No, that's a hell of an idea right there. No, I love it.
Get a dad. Goodness.
He's off being a dad. I'm not. So he's doing the Lord's work. So
hey, absolutely.
Gentlemen, thank you guys so much for the Buff and Fluff Connection, Mr. Cincinnati. This has been the Wrestling Junkies Podcast. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Dope.